In this video, we're talking about angle relationships that are formed by parallel lines and transversals. First, let's start out with a little bit of vocabulary. Parallel lines are lines that never intersect. That means they never, ever cross. If you could look forever to the left and forever to the right, forever up and down, these two lines that I've shown here are never going to cross because they're parallel. A symbol that we use to represent parallel lines is darts. So if you ever see darts like that, it just means those lines are parallel. They're not going to cross. Now, a transversal is a special type of line. It is a line that crosses not one, but two lines. So my transversal is this one. It passes through two lines. See how that one is crossing through the other two? That's what makes it a transversal. And here's our big question for today. What happens when a transversal, that's this one right here, crosses parallel lines? Take a look at this diagram and see if you notice any special angle relationships that are formed. All right, let's take a look at some. Well, first of all, when we have parallel lines, we have the interior of those parallel lines. The interior is just the area between the parallel lines. Think about it as the space inside the tunnel. Interior just means inside. So in this example, we have 4 interior angles. Those are just angles inside the parallel lines, in between the two parallel lines. We also have exterior angles. I want you to think of those as the angles that are outside of the tunnel formed by the parallel lines. So this is the exterior. So looking at our exterior, we've also got 4 angles out there. So the exterior and the interior. Those are 2 terms to remember when we're describing angles. Another term I want you to know is corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are in the same position relative to each other. Let me show you an example. There we go. These are corresponding angles. You might say that they are both southeast if you were thinking of a compass rose. Here's another pair of corresponding angles. There's a third pair of corresponding angles and a fourth pair of corresponding angles. And what it means is their positions match each other. So my red angles there are on the top. The yellow ones are on the bottom. The blues are on the right and the greens are on the left. They're in the same position relative to each other. That's what makes them corresponding. We have 4 other angle relationships that are helpful to know. Now let's go back to our words exterior and interior. Remember, exterior means outside. We're going to add one more word to the front of that and talk about alternate exterior angles. So alternate just means opposite. So these angles are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are outside of the parallel lines. Those are alternate exterior angles. There's actually another pair of alternate exterior angles too. See how they're on opposite sides of the transversal and they're outside of the parallel lines? I bet you could figure out what alternate interior angles are. They're the same relationship except for inside the parallel lines. So they're going to be kind of inside that tunnel. And they also are on opposite sides of the transversal. Now what if we wanted same side exterior? Well, exterior means outside, but now they're going to be on the same side of the transversal as each other. Lastly, we need to look at same side interior angles. They are on the same side of the transversal, but they're inside the parallel lines. So if you know what alternate means and you know what interior and exterior mean, then you can identify these angle pairs without too much difficulty. Now here's an important question. All of the angle pairs that we've just looked at when formed by parallel lines and a transversal are going to be either congruent or supplementary. All right, so I've marked an example of each one. What do you think? You can take a guess. Which pairs of angles are congruent and which pairs of angles are supplementary? It's okay if you guess wrong, but you have a good chance at guessing right here. All right, drum roll. The alternate exterior angles are congruent. The alternate interior angles are congruent. The same side exterior and same side interior angles are supplementary. And the corresponding angles are congruent.